We are live, folks, in the new set. How do you like it?
I love it very much. Do you, Craig?
Pretty good. Not bad. It's all set up. Hopefully we've ironed out all our problems. This is the first time we've gone live in the set, as you know, guys. And we're going to do a show about new beginnings, because kind of a new beginning for us, isn't it, really, Jane,
Yes.
today with this? You know, we're kind of gotten a new set. It's a good day, Friday the 13th. Nothing can possibly go wrong on a day like that. And we've got all sorts of things lined up generally for you with coming up on the show and lots of plans ahead. But we thought we'd talk about new beginnings, yeah?
Yeah, and of course Friday 13th, 13's a very lucky number for the Sikh community. They do everything on the 13th.
Yeah, I've always, actually in my life, I've always found that things go well on the 13th for me. It's been a lucky number. Some people get lucky numbers as 13, and I think it definitely is for me. Mind you, when you look at my luck.
Well, I think 13 might be lucky for me, Craig, because I've seen a lovely ring I would like for my birthday.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about new beginnings. We're going to say hello to everybody first. And have you got any thoughts about things you want to talk about today? We're going to talk about new beginnings, about COVID's coming up and changing. The world's changing for lots of people, like Harry and Meghan. It's new beginnings for all sorts of areas.
And what's going to happen to the royal family now with all the scandal?
Yeah. Anyway, let's say hello. So hello to Sally. First on in the new place. Hi, Sally.
And thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us again. And yeah, so as your people are coming in, we've got Sheila again. We had Sheila in on the patrons earlier on. You might want your Nadi reading doing, perhaps, Sheila, because we had Mr. Prakash on, didn't we? And you might be interested in that. So nice to see you. Looking forward to seeing some new studio. Hope Boo likes it too. Well, actually, that's a thought. We haven't got Boo here
perhaps
today.
he should have his own personal studio.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. We'll make a little studio for him. Good idea.
We've got Agility Bits. Good evening from Cornwall.
We could switch over to a live camera with Boo, couldn't we?
We could do.
Meanwhile, at home, and we've got pictures of Boo. So hi, Agility Bits. Hi, Pat. Nice to see you again. Thanks for all your support. It's people like you, Pat, and the rest of you that are patrons that are allowing us to make the studio set happen like this. Hello from Southern California, says Christina.
Oh, I hope they're all right over there, Christina, because it's got
still
fires.
burning, still a lot of it, isn't it? Terrible.
Yeah.
AP, hello from sunny Eastbourne. Not much has happened in Eastbourne. I don't think they've had any volcanoes or anything like that at the moment.
They might have had some very high waves.
Yeah. Lisa from Arkansas.
Hi, Lisa. How are
I don't know
you?
How you pronounce it, Arkansas.
I thought it said for a moment Clint Eastwood, but I put my glasses on.
Clint,
it says,
hello from Philippines.
Oh, hi.
Gosh,
Clint.
it's early over there, right early in the morning for you. Looks like a masterpiece theatre. Oh, do you like it then?
Nice.
So tell us what you think. It's only the beginning. We've got a second set we're building as well, but this is our main sort of the Craig and Jane
Hi,
chat
Matt.
set. Nice new look, Craig and Jane. Good. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, hopefully. If you don't like it, say as well. If you've got any criticisms, I don't mind. But we're trying to make it interesting for you. It makes a kind of a whole new way of looking at it. Teresa is saying, hi, Craig and Jane from Colorado. I love the spiritual centre and the direction you're headed. Thank you for all you do.
Oh,
Well, this is the start.
That's really nice.
This is the start because it's kind of a spiritual centre where we're reaching out to everybody. It's small at the moment, but it'll get better.
And Matt says, good evening from Torquay. What's your thoughts on the shootings? Well, I haven't really, well, there was a disaster, I think.
I know, it's terrible.
I haven't really thought about that because we've been so busy.
Well, there's nothing really we can say as psychics on that because what's happened has happened,
tragedy,
isn't
isn't it?
But I mean, quite a shock for everybody that. Terrible down that way. I mean, big news down in Plymouth.
And Jen says, hello, lovely. It's a beautiful set and so many good wishes for your new beginnings.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That's really kind of you.
It's kind of a really important stepping stone, this, because it's going to open up a whole new chapter.
Karina
Sairam. Yes, indeed. Hopefully blessed with that word Sairam. It's nice to see that come up on the screen.
And I shall make Craig say it 108 times tonight.
Celeste is saying, good evening from Denmark.
Good evening.
My daughter's name's Celeste. It must mean the same sort of name,
Yeah,
except
Celeste.
in Danish. That's interesting to know. Thanks for joining us. Again, we're getting people from all over the place. Denmark, you seem to have a few in from them.
And we seem to have a little Jamie baby Cardo here, Craig. Hi, Jane and Craig. Nice to see you. Nice to come and see Auntie and Uncle.
Yeah. And Deb's saying hello from Indiana. Big energy hugs.
And
yes,
a big hug
good one
back.
for you. Thank
Virtual
you very
hug.
much. Thank you. Lots of energy.
Where's your hug, Craig, to give back?
Yeah. Of course, when energy is the whole thing about this. When we've got a set like this, we can build the energy in this room and build it up for so much more work when we, not just talking, but readings as well later on. Hi, Craig and Jane. Nice to see you in your new studio, says Meditation Chamber. Thank you.
And how is your meditation chamber?
Yeah. It's very hot in this meditation chamber here, actually, because we've
Good
got
energy.
all the lights. Hello,
Island.
Jane.
Hello, Jane and Craig. They love the new studio.
That's
That's nice. Thank you.
Well, like I say, it is a bit of a new beginning for all of us. Love the shadow of the candelabra.
Yes,
you can't see the full candelabra. It's a massive great thing.
You wait when you see all the other spooky stuff.
Yeah, we've got lots of stuff lined up, bit at a time. We've got to work it all in with the space we've got, But it's a nice. It's starting to look an interesting set, even this first stage of it. I think.
Misha says, here's when I put my glasses on now. Great taste with the decor, lovely atmosphere. It is a nice atmosphere, nice energy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a really old building, like I've told you before.
1880.
18, is it? 18,
Yes.
No, earlier than that it was, 1825, I think.
We trust you to correct
I looked it up on
me.
Wikipedia, but it is pretty old, and so it's we've got a sort of Victorian Edwardian vibe to the place. Viddy saying, hi Craig and Jane, I commented on your video about the August predictions. The first one, you were so correct. What was that one, the first one? You better clarify that for us, because I can't remember which predictions. Quite a lot of things keep coming up, I notice in the news at the moment. I haven't made a prediction video for a while, and some of the things you've said have been coming up too, Jane, both of us.
Well, we're so busy.
Well, we started off, on the big breakfast on telly, doing next week's news today with Paulie Yates. So we were predicting the news every week, and then torn apart by Paulie Yates to tell us what we get right and wrong. And then the end, she had to eat her own words, didn't she? Because we get it right,
didn't we?
Yeah,
yeah.
They thought they were going to turn us into fodder, but actually it worked out really well in the end.
Right. Karina says, "Hello, lovelies. Love the new atmosphere and the chairs. Yeah, they're pretty comfortable, aren't they?
They're not bad. Yeah, they're really old chairs. These are we got these. In fact, they got a bit of a story to each of them as well. But
that belonged to an Indian lady, lady's grandmother.
Yeah, she spent her whole life sat in this chair, particularly in her older age. So
perhaps you
I can feel her energy around me.
Come to that.
Yeah, it's a new direction.
Yeah, you said it.
So it's new beginnings we're talking about today. So I think the world's going to be going through a bit more of a positive change now, don't you, Jane?
Well, I think this is a sign of things to come. The world's got to actually take it seriously, what's happening around the world. They can't just be blinkered.
Well, there's quite a lot. When I think about new beginnings, okay, I think there's always times in life where I think you get certain changes happening. I always like the book of changes in the I Ching, where it talks about difficulty at the beginning, before completion, after completion. It has these ideas that there's always a great wheel that's turning and new phases come, like the idea of the wheel of fortune and things like that. And I think here, with you and me, with what we're doing today, I think this is very important for us, that this is quite an important new chapter in what we're trying to do. And thank you again, guys, for everything you're doing. But also, there's kind of a new chapter is happening with the world, I think, because I feel much more optimistic in my bones that the coronavirus, for example, is beginning to kick it into touch, aren't we? We're beginning to get over it. I mean, okay, in the UK, well ahead of a lot of the world, but if it can be done here, it can be done everywhere. And I'm optimistic of the future with it. I think there's going to be maybe some more outbreaks, maybe some more strains in the future.
There's always going to be viruses around on the planet, Craig, and it's something we've got to live with, that we can be more in control of it.
Yeah, I think we've learnt how to crack one. If we can beat one, we can beat more,
and
here's look at the setup, says it. It's not bad, is it? It's pretty good. Yeah.
You wait when you see the rest of it.
Well, the next stage is going to be a real wow factor, but that's going to take us a bit of time to get that bit sorted out.
Yeah. I've got a beautiful valve too. Yes, and I hope this man appreciates it. The only thing I hear from this man, are we going to eat?
Yeah, she practices on me all the time. She strengthens her jaw with the endless discussion.
And he strengthens his stomach by the look of it.
Yeah. So you have a beautiful velvety voice.
I
That's
have.
good. Yes, it's lovely.
Aren't you lucky?
Yes. I've got a bit more of a croaky voice tonight. But so new beginnings, new starts in the world.
What we want to achieve is really a beautiful spiritual centre that's for everybody, and it's something that our time on the earth hasn't been wasted, so it's for mankind.
Yeah, I think it's always important in your life. You get to a point, don't you, where you feel you've got to do something more. You want to make a mark, not for your ego, but you want to leave something, to do something, or left a legacy of some sort. I mean, I think so, particularly when I got into the spiritual work generally. I mean, I got into it because I just felt it was such a beautiful thing. You had to do it. You had to give up really quite a lucrative careers in other areas in order to do something good with things. Please say hello to Boo. Yes, we will indeed say hello to Boo for you. And so I'm trying to drive the conversation in some direction.
And I had to give up a rich lifestyle too, didn't I, Craig? To come on this
opportunities
pathway.
you give up. You give up a lot to do this work, you know. And we started off spiritually doing with the right heart, I think, and the right intent. And I just feel that this is kind of like now an opportunity to take it onto a new level, you know, and maybe to reach out to more people. And particularly all of you that have been coming here for a long time and helping us with all this, and particularly all the patrons and things. I mean, what you've been doing has been fantastic to help us get to this stage.
Well, that's quite a spiritual thing to do, giving from the heart, isn't it? And it's kind.
And it's so important, you know, to make a new start in the world and so many other levels too, because there's so much rubbish out there. There's so much phoniness on all levels, you know, in all areas of life. Everything there's nothing feels real in the world nowadays. It all feels like it's like the corporate world or plastic world.
Me world.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It's me. It's all fast foods. It's all a package holidays. It's everything seems to be.
It's like spend your money, spend your money, spend your money.
It is, and it's all commerce and the rest of it.
Rather than give money to help people like we have done for heart operations.
Yeah, we've got to start doing things that are really a little bit more significant.
Yeah, and caring.
And I think things like the coronavirus, particularly, which I think we're getting a new start from that now. We're getting out of it, and we've got to learn from that. And I think it should stimulate more compassion in people. Really, if we don't learn from this, then it'll come around again. Well, it'll come around again and again.
And people also learnt when they were in lockdown, like women especially, to cook from scratch, gardening, and men learning to do DIY, Craig, and all these valuable things in life.
The terrors
it made
of
people
existence.
it made people closer, and people were sharing more, weren't they? And they were generally helping each other out.
I think it brought for a little while, particularly when we were here in the UK, we had that VE Day.
Yes.
That was like a little bit of the real spirit of the VE Day of those times, but also a similar coming together with this idea that we're all in it together. You know, we're all facing coronavirus, we're all on lockdown, and that's beginning to be into the distance now, isn't it? It's beginning to think that's a memory from
normality.
A while
People
ago.
coming back to normal.
And we're coming back to normality.
Yeah.
And I think this is why we've got, when a new beginning happens, you've got to learn from what's happened in the past. Because I think in people's lives, sometimes in people's lives, they go through the same thing over and over again. You know, oh, here we go again, the same problem all over again, because perhaps you haven't learned from the last time round.
Well, it's all karmic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
It is.
All
and
karmic.
it's a spiral going upwards, ultimately, rather than the wheel, I think. But if you don't learn from things, you don't progress. And I think both
Dharma.
as individuals and as a world, we've got to do that sort of thing.
I think if the world all got together, wasn't so selfish and all about money all the time, and building houses all the time and stripping the forest and everything, it'd be a better place, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So a lot of other people, I mean, in the news there's all sorts of things happening with new beginnings. I mean, I suppose new beginnings we've seen this year.
Let me just say this. Prince Andrew, he would like new beginnings.
He certainly would.
I think they stuck him up the tower, haven't they, of London? Kept him out the way.
They're trying to hide him. They wish he didn't exist.
He can't hide forever.
They're trying to wipe him out and hide him away. But I mean, but, you know, I've said this in what I've said with my predictions, and I think you've said the same thing. They're not going to get him. Even though they're going to court now and they're going to all this sort of legal process, they can't even extradite Assange.
No.
They can't extradite that woman that run that boy over from when she was from the American woman from the embassy, the other way round.
Yeah.
You know, and so those are sort of kind of lower level people. How on earth could they push him to go to court to talk about all the
sorry
terrible
for
things
the
he's
Queen,
probably
because she's
done, allegedly.
got a platinum anniversary coming up next year.
Oh, is
and
it?
it spoils it, doesn't it?
Oh, I didn't know. Is it really?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't
Trust
keep
me,
up.
I'm a woman.
I don't
know.
read that magazine. Speaking of corporate, do you feel the vaccine has been politicized for money on the stock market, for example? Vitamin D, zinc, etc. are great preventative measures, but never promoted in the news like masks or vaccines.
Yes, but this is a virus, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
but he's right, though. It has also been used as a political tool.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot jumped on it. Like the Chinese, who I'm always going on
Like
about.
Bill Gates.
Well, Chinese jumped onto the vaccine, given out all the vaccines, say how wonderful it is. And now they're beginning to wonder if the Chinese vaccine is actually works, because they're finding people are getting infected by that vaccine's not preventative. So they were using it to sort of get political pressures on other governments. And then internally, like you got in America there, I mean, that vaccine, in a way, it was the coronavirus that swung the elections. If that coronavirus hadn't come along, I think Trump would have been in power. But people were using it, both sides, wrongly, for political advantage. And like you say, things like vitamin D and things were proven to be very good at preventative measures to help your resistance to it. I mean, I wouldn't stop it in itself, but I mean, it was all political football with it, you know. And if anybody came up with something that was ridiculous, they make it into big political arguments, saying this guy's a nutcase, you shouldn't say that, all that bleach business and all that Trump was on about. You know, it always gets blown out of proportions and things like this. It was used wrongly, and you know, the good thing though is that the world did come together ultimately to get vaccines. And I think they're the way out. And I know people, we lose people all the time. Say, oh, I'm not having you, I'm not subscribing to you because you promote the vaccines. Without that, the door would not be open. And I think it is a start.
Catherine Smith says he's royal haughtiness. You're quite right.
And naughtiness, yeah, I reckon so. I mean, he's asking for trouble, isn't he, really?
Well, he shouldn't have been there in the first place.
I mean, what's the bloke up to?
And, well, you shouldn't... you know, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. You should have known better. He's a royal. And
that interview he gave, what a ridiculous interview it was. Made himself, he proved to us that he was guilty just in the way he talks there.
I think didn't he say he could remember it well that time because he took his daughters for a pizza. Yeah. As if somebody royal were going to the Pizza Hut or something. Yeah.
It's like, listen to me, chaps, it's all right, I'll explain it all, you know, and you believe me, and I'll brush it all under the carpet.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's just open up the
Made
whole can of worms. It was hilarious. I mean, it was comedy, really, wasn't it? So your new location large enough to invite your followers? Say the name
first, Craig. Jan.
Jan, okay.
Manners.
Is your new location large enough to invite your followers to spiritual/mediumistic events? Is this something you are thinking of doing? Appreciate in small groups. Yes, but in small groups. And when we say small groups, it'll probably be about 6 people round a séance room table, or it will be a few people coming in for interviews, maybe for private readings. In fact, one of the things we're going to be doing on the patron side is I'm going to be offering some of the patrons, so listen carefully, patrons, because I know a lot of you watch, they're going to get a free reading once a month on a full moon. It was something predicted in the Nadi that I'd do this, I'm going to do it. On a full moon, there will be sort of like, we're going to do a free reading for someone on the patrons. One of which, anybody that's in the Winchester area, because we're based in Winchester, of the patrons, will be able to go into the sort of the lottery of it to come here and have a reading with me and Jane here in the centre. And then we might also do one on Zoom as well. So it's open to everybody then. So if someone's in America, you're still going to get a chance, you know. So that's something we'll be doing on the patron part of the website. But I'll announce all that properly later on. I've been chatting it through with Domenico, who's doing all the work in the background here, as an idea we can do.
And we will be having professional speakers, professional doctors. We've spoken to a
we've been
doctor
talking to people
today
coming on. Yeah.
that's doing good spiritual work, inventing a cream to help people with cancer
Yeah.
and things.
Things we want to sort of bring in things that are kind of
Interesting.
obviously we're mediums, and that's obviously a very big part of the work we do. But we're also, as you know from what you've seen, what we've talked about here and what you've read about in the books and things, we have a kind of a wider spiritual remit, don't we?
Yes.
We're very interested in spirituality as opposed to religion, you know, and a new way of looking at things. So we're interested in all types of topics, but we kind of look at it from a spiritual angle.
Yes,
so we won't
that's
talk
right.
about someone about the stock exchange, but we might talk to someone about the future of the stock exchange. You know, that type of, you know, we're going to try to get a whole wide range of guests as we move on with this, because we'll fit another chair in here, and we can do it with the three of us.
Now, what's that name? Is it Nana? Do you think the Queen will still be here for her Jubilee? Well, we're working on her. We're sending her healing. We're working on it, guys.
Yeah, she'll be around for a while. Yeah, I'm not predicting the Queen's death at the moment.
You can't.
But I think she's going to stick around
Marvellous,
for a bit. Yeah,
isn't she?
she's pretty resilient, really. Yeah. So I think they need a few new beginnings in the royal family, don't they? Can you see Harry's marriage with Meghan lasting?
Well, I think we've touched on that subject before. You know, at the moment, he's got to find out for himself, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't feel it will long term.
I've been saying before, if you look at our other videos, really don't think that's going to last. And really, I mean, they've got all these autobiographies coming out with all these tear-stained pages of how the world's also against me, you know. And I think, although you might get a certain number of people would have sympathy with some of that, I think most people are looking at them now and thinking, what a couple of self-indulgent people.
I believe
they
that
are.
Prince Andrew's got a biography coming
Yeah,
out at the same time.
Yeah.
Snap!
Yeah. I bet he'd make a great biography, wouldn't he? Yeah. That would be much more interesting. Now I'd probably read that one just to see how he tried to wiggle out of things.
Well, especially if you're in toe sucking. Caroline says, "Hi, love the new format." Thank you, Caroline.
Yeah, thank you.
Carolyn.
Beautiful new space you have with an exciting future for you both. Love the space
That's
style.
nice.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
lovely.
nice start.
Yeah.
Because we can put more in, but we don't want to make it too cluttered to begin with, because you know we're limited with what we got space, quite limited. But you know it looks good on camera, and you'll see some good new stuff too.
Jen says, "I need to move to Winchester." Come on down.
Yeah,
Jan.
come on down to Winchester.
Very expensive Winchester.
We're thinking
though.
also of getting a people carrier. Actually, it's not on the
We will
line yet.
get it
We've
soon.
been talking about it and moving around the
So
country sometimes.
if any of you out there got an old one you don't need anymore, send it our way.
I suppose they could. Yeah, but we were thinking about taking the whole, not just me and Jane, but the whole family, as it were. This is sort of like the psychic family on wheels sort of thing. This isn't through the foundation, it's just something we're doing.
Yeah, we'll get one.
And we thought that might be quite a fun way to get out and sort of spread the message a bit and go and explore a few places like we do, you know. Maybe do a live if we can do it, if we can get the Wi-Fi connections for that sort of thing. Can you actually see spirits? When you've had too much spirits, are you actually drunk?
No, we don't drink. We never drink to get drunk or anything, but we do actually see supernatural. We do actually see it.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about seeing spirits. Some people see spirits objectively, you know, like stood there. And yeah, I've had that happen before, where I've seen the spirit stood in the room or in a corridor or things like that and been able to confirm it. But the spirit world don't really need to do that, do they, Jen?
No.
They connect through our minds.
Yeah, I've actually seen a spirit leave a body, going through the crown chakra, and the outline of the body was a vivid green and a yellow light, and it floated up the ceiling. My stepfather.
Well, and you've also had a lot of experiences, of course, as a nurse with that type of thing.
I need it with this one, I tell you.
When I go to sleep, you can see my spirit leave my body.
Not just when you're asleep.
Yeah. Jitta. Okay, of course, you call it. We've had you on before, haven't we?
Jitta.
Jitta? Curious about the head over Jane's shoulder. Does it belong to the headless lady in the painting over the fire? Well, she's not actually headless.
Well, actually, Craig, she's
faceless.
right. Actually, she's right. It's her cousin.
Yeah. When she saw her hair stood on end.
Methuselah.
We're probably going to change the set as we move along. You know, you'll start to see different paintings and all sorts of things gradually creeping into the set. But we're starting off quite simple, and we'll gradually develop and change our style as we go along. But I'm glad you like that. Matthew Larry, when do you see international travel opening up to Australia and New Zealand?
Well, that's interesting because I know New Zealand didn't really have much of the COVID, but now they have.
Yeah, of course it's finally caught on in Australia badly, and I think they're still locked down there. I feel Australia's going to be one of the last out. Well, actually, the last out's going to be the third world, of course. But I mean, but I think Australia's still got a long way to go. But it's still, we're on the turn, aren't we? We're gradually beginning to get there. And Australia doesn't have such a huge population as Europe, of course. So, and they've obviously got a good hospital service there. So in time, I think the only way out is with the vaccine. You know, there's no other way out of this. Lockdowns can only contain it, can't they? It's like trying to, you know, stop water running down a river. You can't, how can you block it all the time? It keeps running and moving forward. So it's a slippery hill. But I think worldwide, I do think this next year, you know, we'll start to see international travel definitely increasing, and I think it will open up reasonably soon to Australia too, because if you've got testing and you've got double vaccinations, I mean, there's no reason people couldn't immediately fly. I think we're going to see vaccine passports, and funnily enough, I said that right when the vaccine first, if you look at the early vaccine videos I did and the things from the Nadi ones and about the coronavirus, predicted that we would have a passport of some sort, and also been locking down towns and things, and that would be August when we come out of it, which is more or less been the case. So it's quite interesting to look at those again in retrospect and say, well, actually, we did get it right. So hopefully we're getting it right now, that we really are on the turn. I think we will get another virus in time, though. I'm writing about that at the moment.
Well, there's going to be, in the future, there's going to be viruses. It's the way the world is changing. Be something.
Yeah.
And it's like these people that live in the rainforest, you know, if they have an ordinary person going in the rainforest, say with a cold, then they all go down like flies.
Yeah, and of course they're more susceptible, like War of the Worlds, when all the invaders died of the flu. Do you see more understanding of long COVID or ME in the near future, and or a cure? Now ME, actually, I have to say, I think that is something, and I commented about this a long time ago, that I felt, I also think cancer, we're going to find something with this whole business of the development from these scientific discoveries. And ME is very similar to long COVID, of course. I've got some very close friends that have suffered from ME, and of course nobody believes you if you've got ME, because they just think you're putting it on, that convenient that you feel tired now and things.
There is such another symptom, which was glandular fever, where people was similar to ME, that you're fatigued all the time, and you feel headachy, and your limbs ache. Is very similar.
And people we've known with ME,
you have to rest.
They not only seem to get, they get attacked by everybody saying, oh, it's not real, but you can see how they can come down. They can just come down, and it's very hard for the doctors to diagnose. In fact, we knew one person was being pushed around in a wheelchair when they got so tired with it, just absolutely flopped. And yet they were very healthy in every other way. And and I think certainly we're going to get more understanding, and I think we're going to get a lot of advances. This money that's been put into all this development, I think there's going to be a lot of hidden benefits, just like the space race brought lots of extras.
Right, Nicolo Cardo. I never believe in horoscopes, but out of curiosity, I looked back on the past 2 months for Taurus, and things happen exactly the way it has predicted. I think the Indians are very good at doing astrology.
Yeah, what you want, Nick, is you want to get. I can actually put you on to some couple of good astrologers. In fact, on if you have a look on, because I know you're a patron and do help a lot. But if you remember that Millie there, one of the patrons, she does Vedic astrology and did a good one for us. She came on live on here once and helped us, didn't she?
Yeah.
And if you look into the Vedic astrology, one of the other, we were talking about it in one of the last Zoom meetings, and one of the ladies there was saying that it predicted not only that I think it was her son would become a lawyer, but when her son would become a lawyer, and it was just something that hadn't even crossed her mind, and it all came out exactly. So some of the Indian astrology, as opposed to the sort of the sun sign astrology that you get in the newspapers, is really interesting, because the stuff you get in the newspapers was invented in the 1930s, just as a bit of a joke, really, just as and of course all the newspapers took it on board because it became massively popular, and it gives such a vague, obviously, just a generality.
Well, some people don't know the difference, because if you do the Indian astrology, sunset, sun rising is very important.
All sorts
and
of
the time you're born.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at newspapers, people know what Libras are like, know what Aquarians are like, but it's sort of a lot of it make believe.
It's all true though. It works out, but a lot of the stuff is just made up by journalists, and it's not really that relevant sun sign astrology. But if you really do take it seriously and go and have a proper look and see, and also. Astrology also reveals to you your potentials and your weaknesses, and the Indians will look at astrology and suggest to you that you do various kind of remedies, a bit like the Nadi does, and that you do a certain ritual, or you do a certain good act and so forth at certain times, or you chant a certain mantra, will all be seen in the astrology as a way of counteracting any negatives in the astrology. So you're not stuck with the fortune. You learn. You can use it as a map for the future. How exactly astrology works? Is there any? If there are so many people under the same symbol, we can't have the same life path. Please explain. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You just explained it, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean that's sun sign astrology. You see, that's just showing where the position of the sun is. But you've got, of course, in your horoscope, if you're completely new to it, you'll find that all the planets are marked in there, and if the planets are in certain houses, that means one thing, and if the planets are, in opposition to each other or for each other, you get things like trines and squares and T-squares and all sorts of things in there that would indicate your weaknesses and strengths, and then you can plot those forward into the future to see how the present planets will interact with the ones at the time of your birth. So it'll give you quite detailed insights, and everybody's horoscope is completely, totally different, because of the place you're born as well as the time you're born. And so, so the sun sign astrology, like the 12 signs of the zodiac shown in the daily newspapers, well, you don't want to pay too much attention to that, quite honestly. But if you start looking seriously, and particularly the Indian astrology, which looks at whole different types of ways of looking at the Western astrology too. So there we go. Don't forget to subscribe, guys, because if you hit the little bell button, you'll get updates all the time. And there's going to be a lot more videos going out too. I'm going to be doing a new sort of little quick videos every now and again. Probably going to call it something like Coffee with Craig or something like that.
What about not Coffee with Jane?
Yeah, and Coffee with Jane too, because Jane can do some as well. I would encourage you to do it, because we've decided to start sending things out. They say, always go out at the same time. You'll always have this video at the same time, hopefully. But we're always going to be doing short little ones, not just from the studio here, but from home and things like that. So only if you subscribe will you pick up on all those little videos, little shorts as the YouTube call them, and sometimes thoughts about what's happening in the newspapers and what's happening in the future. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that in the coming months. And then there's much more on-set stuff as well.
Yes.
I love horoscopes, but I can't stand when people use it as an excuse for their behaviour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Clip them round the ear, I say.
How can they use it as an excuse for the behaviour? I suppose,
well, I mean, I think
I'm bound to let you down, I'm a Gemini, or I'm bound to be crazy, I'm an Aquarius.
Most women will say to a man, what star sign are you? I'm an Aquarian. Run!
Yeah, Aquarius, of course, is the best and only good sign of the zodiac.
They're always under the water. Always in trouble.
Are there a new wave of gifted children about to be born to help us progress now?
There's always been gifted children being born.
Yeah, but it's not a whole wave, I think, of gifted children. I think we were going to see in the coming years gifted individuals, some very, very special awakened people. I've talked about this before, and I'm going to make a full video about this sometime, that we're going to start seeing enlightened people walking the earth. And because the only way out of the world's problems, and they're going to mount up on so many other levels, particularly because of what's happening with the environment, that's going to create social stresses and all sorts of other problems. The only way out of it is collectively coming together. So there's an absolute desperate need of a spiritual coming together of people. And although we can do a lot with this type of thing, I think there's going to be some very, very, very powerfully miraculous individuals that are going to put the scientist's mind into a complete spin. And that will be the starting point of an awakening of all people. Do you agree with that, Jane?
Absolutely. I mean, there's been many gifted children being born, isn't there, really?
Yeah,
They're
those
all
gifted children
unique
have to develop into gifted adults.
The trouble is, some of the children being born now, they're brought up so materialistic, and it's a bad thing, isn't it?
Yeah, people often use gifted excuses, but I think children's minds are changing. So they're having to be rewired in a different way.
Children,
for good and bad.
I mean, look at our grandson, our wonderful grandson. He can just get on a computer, he can work things out. He's amazing, and he's only 5.
And, you know, my mum can't do that. You know,
can my mother do
that?
Can
you think about it? So thank you for all you teach us. Well, that's nice of you, Precious
Thank
DeVere.
you. It's not a lovely name, Precious.
Yes, DeVere
Precious.
Diamonds. You obviously could,
What's
you
your
could
name?
become a patron.
Precious.
Paul saying, love your new studio. What are your thoughts on the Native American prophecies? Yeah, there's quite a lot about that. Basically, some of the Native American prophecies, I believe, say that the Indians will the Native Americans will get back America, and that America will be wiped out, and they will repropagate with the people. I don't see that happening. I'd have to look into some of those again.
I don't see that happening.
But make a nice video.
But it is sad about the North American, about the Indians, isn't it?
They prophesied a long time before about how the white man would come and push them out of the country, and then Black Elk and people tried to do the ghost dances and things to drive people.
Like the Aborigines, really, they're amazing people.
And even the ancient Britons, because we're not.
Now,
Britons.
who says this? Aquarians are very clever. The women ones are, apparently.
Aquarians, that's it. Good people, Aquarians. You know, I'm an Aquarian. Domenico's Aquarian. What are you, Jane? Oh, you're a Libran.
I'm a Libran.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Out. So I'm sorry that you're Aquarian too.
But it's, I think, you know, I think that there's quite a lot to the nature of your star sign, isn't there? I mean, people do kind of fit in generally to their star sign. You know,
you grow on people.
Yeah, when people say what their star sign, think, oh yeah, of course, that explains it.
Aquarians are visionaries. They are, actually. You can see
Domenico's selecting the comments because he's an Aquarian too, and only an Aquarian will spot the importance of saying how good Aquarians are. They're so humble too. This is the important thing.
You're very humble, Craig, aren't you?
Taliban taking over the Middle East again. Oh dear, yes. I'm afraid that's going to be an absolute
disaster.
Total disaster. The next influence there is going to be China. They're not going to go in with troops, but I think they're going to be going in with such a strong influence that the Taliban are more or less going to be under Chinese control. They want the rare earth metals, you see. Oh dear, what that part of the world ever see a safer society? I don't think Afghanistan will, because it's always been like that. Always get so frightened and sad for that area of the planet. Yeah. And also, same with Pakistan too, you see, because their stability is very influenced by what's going on in Afghanistan. And then they've got India you know, because they've always got I don't know, I think there's going to be more troubles there. Afghanistan used to be part of India, the old Bharat, because India used to extend right into the borders of Persia. It included, of course, Pakistan. It included all of Nepal and all of Afghanistan.
I've actually met
Tibet,
the Shah of Persia.
and right down to Indonesia.
I actually met the Shah of Persia.
Yeah, you said, yeah.
He's a nice man.
Was he?
Oh, he was nice to me.
Was he pleasant to you, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I fancy that. No idea. Michelle's saying, I can see you both being successful bringing out a spiritual fortnight magazine. I felt this whilst watching you both. Well, you mean a printed magazine? I don't think we'd go down the magazine route now.
Do that.
No, I've done a lot of journalism in my time because I used to write for the Daily Mail and I've written for all sorts of the papers. But I don't see written one. But I think this, in a way, is a sort of magazine sort of program. Yeah. And we want to make our show more than just a chat between Craig and Jane. We might start to sort of be able to have cameras elsewhere and jump to other sets and things like that.
Ghost hunts.
And places.
Ghost hunts.
Yeah, ghost hunts and things like that. Because, you know, we want to turn it into a bit more of a kind of a show, but that means we have to have a lot more people working with us. And since we're all doing it for free, as it were, we kind of need a few more volunteers. So, you know, if you're in Winchester, you know this, or in this area, you know, and you know your stuff, you know, we're all open to have people help us, particularly on the technical side of things. Sheila's saying, Laurel, so am I. Moon in Aquarius, wash hands. Moon in Aquarius. See, so you can see why she's such a lovely lady. I'm an Aquarius.
The women are.
Laurel said, I'm an Aquarius moon. We are the Aquarian spirit gang. Yes. See, you see. Actually, Jane, you've got an Aquarian moon, I seem to remember.
Know.
Yeah, so you can't escape it.
No.
I used to read for you at the Circle. Oh yeah, of course. I've still got the Circle Psychics on the website at psychics.co.uk. So thank you.
Is this a phone reader?
Yeah, one of the phone readers from the Circle. So actually, if any of you are interested, you go and have a look at my website, and we've got readings there for all countries, pretty much everywhere in the world. You know, we've got special lines for America and Australia and so forth. So you can go there and you can get, you know, a pay-as-you-go reading sort of thing. You can book a reading straight away, right now, if you want to. And it's all on the website. And as Precious, I'm sure, will know, the readers on there are all carefully scrutinised, are all people who, you know, they're not just grab anybody as a reading. They're properly trained and tested and supervised, so you get only good ones. And so, yeah, so thank you for commenting there, Precious, because actually I keep forgetting to mention about that's actually one of the staples of our income. So if you go to the website, you'll be able to book a reading with somebody straight away. Nana's saying, my son Rich just loves ghost hunts. Are you proposing to do them live?
Yes, we will.
That would be a really good idea. And that's part of the idea. I'd like to take a people carrier down to
we'll get one soon.
Places because you've got somewhere to sort of settle in.
Enough.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where we could, you see, we're building our equipment up and to do it live is actually quite difficult because you've got to have the connections, you know, so you can't just do it by 4G and things like that if you're going to do it properly. But we've got ways of doing it, and we've got a lot of we're learning a lot more technical know-how all the time with what we're doing. We're bringing in we're talking about new softwares, new types of cameras, and and we're going to refine until it gets to real broadcast quality with everything we're doing, proper full-on broadcast quality. Do you want to read it, Jane?
Yeah, you can. You're doing
my
so
eyes
well.
are going fizzy. Hi, Jane and Craig. Will you be able to know the spiritual level, if the spirit belongs to pretty good level, of an individual just by looking at him or her?
You've got to connect with the spirit world, not just by
No,
looking.
I think what she's saying is, do you know if someone is spiritually awake or not?
Yeah.
And by just looking at them.
Yeah, we can.
You can. You get, and I think probably you can too, Kieran, because the thing is, your first feelings about somebody, if you trust them, you usually find you're absolutely bang on right, don't you? The first impressions are always right, pretty much. Not always, but most of the time. And I think you can spot a person who's highly spiritual, just as you can spot a person that's got bad intent. You can feel it like a prickly feeling.
Well, you can feel it in the solar plexus here, and you're tuning into that person. You feel their vibration and their energy, and it's like if you know someone's lying, or you know they're a good person or a bad person, you're using your telepathic energy as well tuning
And also, I
into
think
them.
when a person's kind of very highly spiritual, you naturally like them.
Yes.
I think people
Well, like that
generally
doctor
naturally
today.
like them. Yeah, beautiful man, lovely
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think it's important to trust that, and it's important to look out in your life to find people that do have a spiritual energy, because you know, if you've got spiritual interest and you surround yourself with spiritual people, it's going to lift your spiritual energy. It's going to help you become a more spiritual person. You know, we become very much the people that we surround ourselves with. If we go down the pub all the time and surround ourselves with drunken people, we'll probably end up drinking a lot, won't we?
We
Because
don't go down the
know,
pubs.
you get influences.
Right. Ireland. Are any of Kate and William's children gifted? Some questions for, the same question for Harry and Meghan's children. I love your new studio. Charlotte's quite gifted, Kate and William's daughter. I feel that, I feel the children, Meghan, I don't feel they're so gifted as Charlotte.
Yeah, it's your thoughts?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought, actually, I'm not gifted, but I've always thought that Prince Charles has a sort of a bit more of an intuitive gift than most of the
We're
royal
talking
family.
about children.
I know, but I'm just saying I've always felt that Charles kind of had a... because, you know, the royal family, they were always really interested in spiritualism and
The
things,
Queen Mother
particularly
was.
Victoria's
The Queen
time.
Mother, because we knew the butler at Broadlands,
Yeah.
and the Queen Mother used to actually like seances
Yeah,
and things
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And actually, when I've been to Broadlands and we've been invited, I can remember going up the stairs. This is at Broadlands, and I said, "Who's that funny-looking woman up there in that painting?" Of course, it was Edwina. And the lights suddenly all dimmed and flashed. Oh, she don't like us saying anything about.
Yeah.
And we smelt this most wonderful smell of gardenias.
Yeah, I remember, because we were actually allowed to go there with
And
the
stay
butler
there.
and stayed there over, I think it was over New Year, because the Romseys were away, and
Yes,
they had
yeah.
permission for us to come and visit. And it's very interesting, the stories of the royal family and all of them. I mean, Diana was interested in all. Queen Victoria, of course, when she lost Albert, she became spiritualism mad.
And John Brown.
John Brown,
a
and not
medium.
just John Brown, but
John
others
Brown.
as well.
Yeah.
She saw a lot of the great mediums in her time, and had a lot of really powerful proofs. And of course, it spread right through not just the royal family of in Great Britain, but through the Russian royal families and all the Germans and all the rest, all the royal
Now, Chris
lineages
says,
got interested in
I'm
it.
from the Seychelles. Well, we've been to the Seychelles. Lovely people. Do you see us having trouble with water, floods, or...
Well, actually, can I answer that
yes,
one, Jane?
yeah, of course
Because
you can.
actually, I had a really... do you remember I said to you, I had a really strange dream about being in the Seychelles the other day? And it's interesting that that question should come up, and that's why, because I'd forgotten it, but it triggers my dream. And I was walking through the Seychelles up to my waist in water, and I woke up, and it was kind of not a pleasant feeling, because it was like struggling with the water in the dream. And I thought, well, what's that all about? And if they're worrying about water flooding in the Seychelles, I've got to say that to Chris there, that maybe that's why my dream was about, because often I get these dreams, and sometimes that's where I get my predictions from. So it's not something I would have sort of said on one of my prediction programs, but I think there's something's going to happen there. And I seemed at the time to be in the north.
High
the
winds.
north. So I know there's a whole group of islands, but I felt I was in the north of the Seychelles. Sorry? I don't know. I don't know if even was in the Seychelles Islands, but I was in somewhere that seemed to be north of the Seychelles, on an island, and I was up to my waist in water.
Well, I see high winds there, and I see very high heat.
In fact, the whole business with the environment, we're going to see so much more of. I mean, it's going to be the point that nobody can possibly predict there's going to be fires, because every year there's going to be fires. We're going to get what we've seen this year. It's just going to be on and on and on, and there's no miracle when you start to say, oh, there's going to be problems here and problems there, because we're just going to see more and more problems with these things, and we've really got to sort it out. Is there a spirit in the room with you now?
I don't feel a presence of a spirit, to be honest.
I get a feeling something's there. I don't know why, says Pat. And
it's
I know
Dominica.
I know Pat's pretty psychic, because I've talked to Pat in the patrons there on the Zoom sessions. I often feel this chair kind of has a bit of a spooky feel to it.
Well, that's because it belonged to an Indian lady's grandmother.
But there'll always be spirits around all
Yeah.
the time, you see, wherever you go.
Walkthroughs.
But I hope that this place we can sort of, you know, when I used to run my circles, we used to have to hire somewhere, but every time we sat, we'd build the energy a bit more. And if you've got a place that you can have dedicated to doing spiritual work, and you start, particularly you're doing mediumship and you're doing circles, for example, and got whole groups of people there, which we'll do. Some of it we'll do live, some of it we might just do. It does create a definite energy. It creates a fantastic energy. In fact, when I used to do my circles, I used to go. I didn't really do full-on trance, but you just go with the spirit, and your evidence, your proof, your mediumship just soared. I found when you got that energy, not only from the people in the room, but from the place itself.
There is somebody here, Craig. There's a gentleman with a tall hat, and I'm going into very much Edwardian times.
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
always
Victorian,
feel this place was solicitors I get.
This was a home of somebody, and this man approves of us because it's all come together. It's so.
See if we can find the history of the place,
Yeah,
Jane, and then we can find
and
out.
there's a J in the person's name, and I don't know if he's into merchant banking or that, but I got that very
We might
strong
be able to find
feel.
some of the history.
Well, we'll find the history,
Yeah.
but there's definitely a gentleman that owned this place.
Yeah, and the thing is, you'll also get when we start to build the energy in a place like this, the spirit guides can make a stronger contact. I mean, when we've done circles before, everybody in the circle could feel the spirit guides around you. In fact, I'm getting that sense now because it's kind of an enclosed area.
I don't feel a spirit guide. I feel a person that's in the higher astral planes, and I feel someone walking. He's got a long stick, like a walking stick, and there's silver at the top. And it's as if he approves of us, and I feel he's taking his hat off and welcome.
In fact, I'd quite like to get together some of the people from my old circle if you're watching this. We might not necessarily do something here live, but do something, might even sit a circle here, and just have a little circle, could sit sometimes around the table there. Not necessarily online, but for preparation for the energy for the future, I think.
Well, I feel it'd be nice to have guests. I wouldn't say
and
to have
guests,
a
but I
big
want to do
circle.
a teaching circle here as well,
Oh,
and teach people, because there's nobody out there, you see, teaching mediumship properly nowadays. There's all workshops, which all strike me as kind of rip-off workshops. You know, you can be a medium in 30 seconds sort of thing. It don't. It takes long,
Do you know what I hate?
work.
Somebody that holds a card up, an angel card, and they say they've got communication from the spirit world.
Yeah, I know.
And you don't hear the person answer it. Basics. You've got to really
Basic
be still.
misunderstandings about spirit, that
It
isn't
is,
it?
and
You know,
you've got
you
to be
do not
still
use
quiet.
cards
Yeah.
or any form of
No, you
paraphernalia
make a
for making spirit
connection.
contact.
And
You don't even use psychometry
One
for
lady that came to me the other day, I went near the medium, went to this medium. She'd never been to a medium, and she said the medium talked so quickly, she couldn't take it in.
I saw that.
And she said, and then when I came outside, I thought, what am I thinking of? She said, well, I've come to you, you've given me the name, how my loved one passed, you've given me proof and evidential what I've been doing. And she said, and it's been well worth coming here.
I remember that spiritualist medium that used to demonstrate, because he got a reputation for doing that. I won't mention his name. He used to go around the spiritualist churches, and he used to go speak so fast to the person, not let him answer, then go to the next person and speak so fast to that one and not let him answer. Nobody ever had a chance to answer back to say no. Everything he said was assumed to be correct.
Yes.
Oh, you know, I mean, there's a lot of simple things you can teach with mediumship about, you know, how to build up communication, that you know who the communicator is, how to give the evidence, and how to connect it with a message.
Also,
a little strict,
and most important,
methods.
have non-attachment, and let the spirit world move on, Craig, because you know you've got to have non-attachment, because sometimes you're listening to all sadness, people's problems.
I mean, the pure energy of how to be a medium.
Because the spirit world wants you rested. You can't do no more than two people.
I mean, people throw themselves into mediumship and want to become mediums, open themselves up as a channel, but they haven't done any of the training to cleanse themselves. They don't know how to clear their aura afterwards. They don't know how to protect their aura. They're going straight into mediumship without training. So I think there's a lot of room out there for some proper mediumistic teachings. So we're on our last questions now, guys. So if you've got anything you want to ask us in the last part here, we've kind of digressed from the New Beginnings theme, but then that's it. That's what we're here for. We like to sort of take your questions, and like I say, we'll go live a few more times during the week sometimes, at random times, middle of the night sometimes, so that people in Australia can connect and India can connect, and you can, if you see us come on live, you will have a question in mind, get in there quick, because they'll be short little videos we'll do. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that little bell if you come here for the first time. And if you really want to keep seeing this type of thing, you want to support what we're doing, help us to take it even further, if you've been following us for some years, why not become a patron? It don't cost much. You can give a little bit or you can give a lot. And you can also come in and chat to me on Zoom and the other bits and pieces we're trying to do for the patrons in the behind the scenes. But it all helps to push it forward and get spiritual messages out there, and hopefully a bit of spiritual messages with common sense and down to earth, and not away with the fairies type of stuff, so that we can really teach, in a spirit of modesty and humility, ultimately, what the spirit world's all about, and what why we're here, and the meaning and purpose of our life. So again, thank you, patrons. Thank you so much, because it's fantastic. All of this is happening because of your support of what we're trying to do with our work. So there we go. He's put the new message up there. So again, for the patrons, we're going to do this for some of the tiers on the patrons. We're going to do a free reading every month. It'll be done on the new moon. Won't be able to do the first one because the next new moon coming up, because we'll be away on holiday for a short break. But we're going to do something it'll be a new moon reading. Or not a new moon, it'll be a full moon reading. He's got the message on there wrong. That's the time. You want it when the full moon's up. That's when the energy's high. And I'll be giving some of those for the patrons. Selected at random, including also the Nadi readings, because we're going to have some Nadi readings for patrons coming up very soon, and we've had the first discussions about that, and so you'll be guided and helped with that, so you don't end up with charlatans from the Nadis, but you'll get some really proper insights on that as well. So those that have read my book Messages from the Universe will know what that's all about.
Thank you. Need a pretty mug for your TJ. Yes, I've told Craig off.
Yeah, she was moaning about this. So you're obviously psychic.
Yes, because I've got a white teapot, and I like bone china, cups and saucers, and 2 lovely cut crystal glasses, decanter with water, Craig, and coasters. Yeah,
I got told off for bringing mugs, but I'm going to have the mugs because I like to drink lots of water when I'm talking, And so Jane wants teapot and some cut crystal, which actually is all in keeping with the new set we got here, isn't it, really?
Yeah, Matt says, Craig, Hamilton Parker and Jane Hannah, your shows are brilliant. Aren't they just?
They are.
Aren't they just?
It's just us. Yeah. But you seem to like it. And
Michelle says,
it's nice to share spiritual things
that's nice.
with each other.
Michelle said, thank you, Domenico. Thank you, Jane and Craig. Because we couldn't do this if it wasn't for Domenico.
No, we need a camera pointing the other direction so we can see all what's going on in the background.
Perhaps for those people out there, you might like a free photograph of Domenico signed.
You can go and have a look at his own site, which is the Italian Dad, on YouTube, which is well worth a look. He's got some odd curiosities and things like that. If you check it out, there are links on. I don't think there's a link on the main video, but you'll find it easy enough. The Italian Dad, and you've got some good stuff there. There's some real weird stuff he's put up actually from oddities and things like that. It's really interesting. My daughter,
Katie, that is. My daughter's Katie.
Would love to train spiritually with your group. She needs expert guidance.
Oh yeah, we'd love her. She's lovely, Katie.
Yeah, well, I want to start getting into the whole idea of doing teaching people again, but up to a point. I think as long as I've got some really dedicated people again.
Not one's going to sleep in meditation.
Well, yeah, you see, it's such a rare thing to get a medium that teaches. And you put, from the medium's point of view, you have to put in so much work. It's a lot of work to do these things. And then people come and they come to do the meditation. They fall asleep every time, And I think, well, I'm doing all this work and you're just sat there absorbing the energy because you just want to relax. But, if you want to do that, go and do a sleep workshop. But, here you're here to give the energy, lift the energy. I'm very strict when I teach people in circle because I was taught by a policeman, a police sergeant, and he was strict with us. So it was sort of like boot camp. And it was the right way to be. He used to push us and push us and push us to make sure we got the energy. And we'd got the evidence right, as it were. And we'd come away exhausted because you put so much work in. But, to develop mediumship takes real dedication and real hard work.
Christian's saying, thank you for the insights. Enjoy your weekend. Yes, you enjoy your weekend too, all of you. And Jamie says, thank you both for a great show in your new studio. Thank you, Jamie.
And Nana's saying, keep calm and drink tea. Love my cream teas. LOL. Yeah, we'll have to have a cake stand here.
I have got a lovely cake
nice
stand.
We can make everybody feel hungry.
Not a lump of cheese, Craig, while you're eating on the way.
We'll let you do that in your style. Yeah. Full moon readings sounds great. Yes, well, you can be one of the ones on the list for that soon. I should hope.
As long as it's not
but I'm going to be a random selection.
Not dark moon readings.
No, eclipse readings. I only tell you bad stuff. Yeah. But those of you that would have the readings, of course, I would want to do those on camera. So your reading would be seen by people.
Isn't it?
And it will be mediumship. It won't be prediction. It'll be about connecting with the dead.
Yeah, Karina said, thank you. We'd love to meet both of you in person one day. You can. I'll put Craig up for a raffle, shall I?
Yeah. Well, you can meet us because we've got a show coming up.
Coming here.
We've got here too, but also we've got a show coming up again at the Concord Club.
Yes, in November.
Southampton in November. Tickets are there. You can ring that's in Southampton, the Concord Club. They go pretty quick usually. Yeah. I think he's got them live now, so if you want to get a good seat, you can get a good one now. That's a long way ahead, and we might hopefully do some more of these.
Yeah, we will.
Now the COVID's lifting. Lovely chat. Cheers from Germany, says Patricia Schultz. Sally saying, thank you, Domenico. Thank you for a great show. Have a good weekend and love to boo.
Oh, he's got a fan club.
He has got his own fan club. We'll have to make sure we get some boo clips in. We can have a message from Boo at the end of each show.
Precious says, I love my chai tea in lovely porcelain. Yeah, tea definitely tastes better in China.
Chai definitely too. Chai tea's nice. The Indian masala chai.
Oh, you follow me on Kerry? Hello, Craig, Jane. I follow Jane on Instagram. You're a wonderful, talented couple. Beautiful. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm going to respond a lot more to people on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't really use it. I use Twitter a fair bit.
No, I don't use Twitter. I like Instagram.
Yeah, I don't follow. So that's good. You do Instagram. I do Twitter. Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's all fun stuff, isn't it? Thank you, Domenico.
Oh,
that's nice, isn't it? That people are recognising that. Domenico's been here with us today, helping to get it all set up, and all through the week we've been grabbing bits of time whenever we can. We all got busy schedules, and without that, none of this would be possible whatsoever. So thank you all. Love the new channel look. Forward to all the new stuff. Yes, new beginnings, as we put as a theme. Lots of new beginnings. Lots of new hopeful.
Kieran says, I love your channel. Would like to have more and more spiritual information.
And so it shall be. we were going to do a lot more, and lots of little short ones. Like I say, if you're new to the channel, make sure you follow us, because we're going to be going on live randomly, lots and lots of times.
Jen says, thank you. It's been such a lovely hour with you both, and thank you to Domenico. Yes, Domenico does deserve praise.
Yeah, I almost feel as if you can feel the people with us.
Yeah,
it's become that intimate, this, really.
Sheila, lovely Sheila.
And of course, we're getting to know somebody.
Sheila says, love the show, as always. Thank you, Craig, Jane and Domenico. Thank you, Sheila, for watching.
Yeah, very intelligent lady, Sheila. Domenico is a legend. Look at that.
Aren't you jealous, Craig?
He's better
that you're
than
not
me.
a legend.
And
Domenico
he's another
is.
Aquarian. Of course he's a legend. He's an Aquarian like me. Yes.
Good.
And it is, because all this, look at you can't see the work that goes into it, because all behind this, we've got all the cameras, the lights and everything we've got to set up, and we've got to get blackout blinds and all the rest of it. There's a lot goes in, and the sound. But anyway, thank you all for joining us. It's been fantastic that you've all been here with us tonight, and we're going to say bye.
All right.
Yes, we are, indeed. So thank you, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.
Would you like to know more about the paranormal world? Craig Hamilton Parker's books are now available on Amazon. Explore the future. Discover what happens after death. Unlock the secrets of your dreams. Learn to develop your own psychic skills.